The containment facility on Prime hummed with the low vibration of energy barriers and atmospheric processors. Deep within its fortified walls, in the maximum security wing reserved for the most dangerous specimens the Galactic Council had ever encountered, Doctor pressed herself against the cold metal wall of her cell. The aliens who had captured her 3 days ago had made a critical error in judgment, one that would soon cost them dearly. Was not just any human. She was not the simple field medic her uniform suggested, nor was she the helpless female the captors believed her to be. What they had captured was Lieutenant Colonel, former Special Forces combat medic, current head of the Human Military Medical Corps Experimental Division, and most importantly, the woman who had single-handedly developed the enhanced human combat stimulant program that had turned ordinary soldiers into near-mythical warriors. The irony was not lost on her as she examined her surroundings. The aliens had thrown her into what they called the Wolf Cell, a containment unit originally designed to hold a creature from the sector known for its savage intelligence and pack-hunting instincts. The creature had died in captivity 6 months ago, but the cell retained its ominous reputation. The thought they were being clever, psychological warfare at its finest. They had no idea they had just caged something far more dangerous than any wolf. His fingers traced the small medical kit hidden in the lining of her jacket. Her captors had been thorough in their search, but they had underestimated human ingenuity and the art of concealment. The kit contained 3 vials of what appeared to be standard pain medication to any casual scanner. In reality, they held her life's work, Combat Enhancement Serum Mark VII, a compound that could transform human physiology for short periods, pushing strength, speed, and cognitive function beyond natural limits. The cell itself was a marvel of alien engineering, designed to contain beings capable of extraordinary violence. Energy barriers hummed at frequencies that would disrupt most known nervous systems. The walls were composed of a titanium alloy that could withstand small explosions, and the floor was equipped with gravity wells that could pin most creatures in place. What the designers had not accounted for was human adaptability and the fact that their prisoner had spent years studying alien technology. Had been captured during a routine medical evacuation on the border world of 442B. The raiders had struck the field hospital with surgical precision, taking her specifically while leaving the other medical staff behind. Intelligence suggested they wanted to study human medical techniques, particularly how humans managed to survive injuries that would be fatal to most other species. They had chosen their test subject well, just not in the way they intended. There were a reptilian species known throughout the galaxy for their cold intelligence and calculating nature. They had been studying various species for decades, seeking to understand what made each race unique, what advantages they possessed that could be exploited or defended against. Humanity was still relatively new to the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 50 years prior, but they had already gained a reputation that made established civilizations nervous. Humans were unpredictable. They survived things that should kill them, adapted to environments that should be uninhabitable, and displayed a capacity for both cooperation and violence that other species found disturbing. They wanted to understand the source of human resilience, and they believed that studying their medical practices would provide insight into these mysterious capabilities. Could hear the guards outside her cell discussing her in their hissing, clicking language. She had learned enough during her military intelligence training to understand the basics of their conversation. They were debating whether to begin their experiments immediately or wait for the chief researcher to arrive from the capital. One guard seemed nervous about keeping a human contained for too long, mentioning reports of humans displaying impossible behaviors when threatened. His companion dismissed these concerns as superstition spread by inferior species. The cell's environmental systems cycled through what recognized as a standard interrogation pattern, alternating temperatures, varying atmospheric pressure, and subtle changes in the light spectrum designed to create psychological stress. What they did not realize was that it had been through far worse during her Special Forces training. She had survived Arctic warfare exercises in temperatures that would freeze most alien blood, endured high-altitude operations that would crush the lungs of many species, and completed psychological resistance training that had prepared her for exactly this type of treatment. As the hours passed, began to piece together the layout of the facility from the sounds that penetrated her cell. The ventilation system carried voices and mechanical noises that painted a picture of a large research complex with multiple levels. She could identify at least 3 different species of guards, based on their distinct breathing patterns and footsteps. There were laboratories somewhere above her. She could smell the chemical signatures that any medic would recognize: preservation fluids, cleaning agents, and the metallic scent of surgical equipment. The most important discovery came from a conversation between two researchers who paused outside her cell during what she guessed was their equivalent of a shift change. They discussed her with the casual indifference of scientists examining a particularly interesting specimen. One mentioned that preliminary scans had shown unusual chemical traces in her bloodstream, but had dismissed them as residual medications from her medical work. They had no idea those traces were from the enhancement serums she had been testing on herself for the past 2 years. Had volunteered to be the first test subject for her own creation, understanding that no serum could be perfected without human trials, and unwilling to risk the lives of others on an untested compound. The current version, Mark VII, represented years of refinement and adjustment. Unlike the crude stimulants used by other species, her enhancement serum worked with human biology rather than against it, triggering dormant genetic sequences that scientists theorized were evolutionary remnants from humanity's earliest days. The serum could increase physical strength by a factor of 3, accelerate reflexes to superhuman levels, and most importantly, enter what privately called tactical consciousness, a state of heightened awareness and analytical thinking that turned ordinary soldiers into strategic geniuses. The effects lasted approximately 2 hours, after which the subject would experience fatigue but no permanent damage. She had used it successfully in 3 combat situations during classified operations, each time turning the tide of seemingly impossible battles. Now, trapped in an alien research facility light years from Earth, prepared to use her creation once more. But this would not be a battlefield test or a controlled laboratory experiment. This would be a demonstration of why humanity had earned its fearsome reputation among the stars, why even advanced civilizations approached human space with caution, and why capturing a human was often a fatal mistake. They had made their choice when they decided to treat her as a laboratory specimen. They had sealed their fate when they locked her in the wolf's cell, believing they had captured prey when they had actually cornered a predator. Was not just a medic, not just a soldier, but a representation of everything that made humanity dangerous: intelligence, adaptability, and an absolute refusal to surrender. As night fell on Prime, began her preparations. She carefully removed the hidden vials from her jacket lining, checking each one for damage from her capture and transport. The serum was stable, the delivery system intact. She would need to time this perfectly, wait for the right moment when guard rotations created a window of opportunity. She had identified that moment from listening to their patterns. In approximately 6 hours, there would be a 15-minute gap when the corridor outside her cell would be monitored only by automated systems. They believed they had captured a human for study, but they were about to discover what it meant when humans studied them back. Had spent 3 days analyzing their technology, their procedures, their weaknesses. She understood their psychology, their overconfidence in their technological superiority, and their fatal underestimation of human capability. In the darkness of the wolf's cell, smiled for the first time since her capture. Tomorrow, they would learn why their predecessors had created legends about human warriors. They would discover why species across the galaxy spoke in whispered tones about human unpredictability and resilience. Most importantly, they would understand why some prisons were not meant to hold humans, but to protect the universe from what humans could become when pushed too far. The hunt was about to begin, and was no longer the prey. The injection site burned as the combat enhancement serum Mark VII entered its bloodstream through the concealed auto-injector she had activated against her thigh. She had timed it perfectly, administering the dose during the guard rotation window she had identified through hours of careful observation. The monitoring systems detected no change in her vital signs during the first few minutes, exactly as she had designed the serum to work. Closed her eyes and felt the familiar cascade of changes beginning in her body. First came the neurological enhancement. Her hearing sharpened to the point where she could distinguish individual conversations 3 levels above her cell. Her vision adapted to perceive a wider spectrum of light-revealing details in the supposedly pitch-black cell, and her cognitive processing accelerated until she could simultaneously track dozens of variables in her escape plan. The physical changes followed quickly. Her muscles began to reorganize at the cellular level, drawing on stored energy reserves and optimizing fiber density. Her cardiovascular system shifted into overdrive, pumping enhanced blood through expanded vessels, while her enhanced hemoglobin carried nearly twice the normal oxygen capacity. Most importantly, her pain reception dulled to manageable levels, while her proprioception became so acute she could feel the vibration patterns of every piece of machinery in the facility. Through her enhanced hearing, tracked the movements of guards throughout the complex. She identified 4 beings she recognized as traitors based on their distinctive chittering communication, and what appeared to be 3 humans in containment somewhere in the levels above her. This last discovery sent a cold fury through her enhanced mind. They were not just studying human medicine, they had multiple human test subjects. Approached the energy barrier that formed the front wall of her cell. Under normal circumstances, the barrier would deliver a shock capable of stunning most sentient beings into unconsciousness. Her enhanced physiology, however, could process and redirect electrical energy through her modified nervous system. She had discovered this ability during testing of the Mark VI serum when she had accidentally contacted a live power coupling during a combat exercise. Placing her palm against the energy barrier, felt the electrical discharge course through her body. Instead of pain, she experienced a rush of power as her enhanced nervous system converted the electrical energy into useful bioelectric potential. The barrier's feedback systems registered the energy drain, but interpreted it as a minor malfunction rather than sabotage. With her enhanced strength, began working on the cell's primary weakness, the gravity well generators embedded in the floor. They had installed these to prevent powerful creatures from gaining leverage for escape attempts, but they had not considered that a human enhanced beyond normal parameters could use the gravity fields against themselves. By carefully positioning herself and using her enhanced understanding of physics, created a resonance pattern that caused one of the gravity generators to overload. The overload triggered a cascade failure in the cell's containment grid. Emergency protocols engaged immediately, but they were designed to respond to mechanical failures, not to a prisoner who understood the technology better than its operators. Used the 15-second window between the gravity field failure and the emergency backup activation to position herself against the cell's rear wall. When the backup systems engaged, they found the cell's weight distribution completely altered. The gravity fields, designed to pin down a creature in the center of the cell, instead created an intense gravitational gradient that used like a gravitational slingshot. Her enhanced muscles, operating at 3 times normal capacity, launched her through the weakened energy barrier at the moment when its power fluctuated during the emergency reset. Materialized in the corridor outside her cell like a nightmare-given form. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to land silently despite the violent nature of her escape, and her improved vision immediately every detail of her surroundings. The corridor was exactly as she had visualized it from sound analysis. A long, curved passage with monitoring stations every 30 meters and atmospheric recycling vents large enough for human passage. The first guard discovered her escape when his patrol route brought him around the corridor curve. He had approximately 0.3 seconds to register the presence of a human outside the supposedly impregnable wolf cell before its enhanced speed carried her across the distance between them. Her medical training had taught her exactly where to strike to render her unconscious without permanent damage, and her enhanced strength made the precision blow devastatingly effective. Caught the guard's weapon before he hit the ground, immediately analyzing its design and function through her enhanced cognitive abilities. The weapon was an energy projector calibrated for physiology, but her understanding of alien technology allowed her to recalibrate it for human use within seconds. She also acquired the guard's communication device and access credentials, both of which would be essential for the next phase of her plan. Using the communication device, accessed the facility's internal network. Her enhanced mental processing allowed her to navigate the alien interface systems with startling speed, downloading schematics, personnel rosters, and most importantly, the locations of the other human prisoners. What she discovered filled her with a cold rage that her enhanced emotional regulation struggled to contain. The facility was conducting systematic experiments on human subjects, attempting to understand what made humans resilient in ways other species were not. They had captured 12 humans over the past 8 months, ranging from merchants to explorers to military personnel. 3 had died during the experiments, their bodies pushed beyond the limits of even human endurance. The remaining 9 were being held in various states of medical suspension, while researchers attempted to map human genetic sequences they could not understand. Enhanced tactical awareness immediately began formulating a rescue plan that would save the surviving prisoners and deliver a message they would never forget. But first, she needed to reach the main laboratory where the central computer systems could be accessed. According to the schematics, this meant traversing 3 levels of the facility, past multiple security checkpoints, and through areas where her enhanced abilities would be tested to their limits. The ventilation system provided the most direct route, but it would require to navigate passages designed for atmospheric circulation, not human travel. Her enhanced flexibility and strength made this possible, while her improved spatial reasoning allowed her to map the 3-dimensional maze of ducts and chambers that honeycombed the facility. Entered the ventilation system through a service panel that her enhanced strength simply tore from its mounting. The construction was robust, but had not been designed to withstand human enhancement. As she crawled through the narrow passages, her improved hearing tracked the movements of personnel below, while her enhanced problem-solving abilities calculated optimal routes and timing. The first major obstacle came when she reached the transition point between levels. The ventilation shaft narrowed to accommodate atmospheric pressure differences, creating a passage barely wide enough for her shoulders. For a normal human, this would have been impassable. For, enhanced with Mark VII serum, it became a test of controlled strength and flexibility that she passed by essentially flowing through the opening like liquid. Emerging into the second level's ventilation grid, could hear the conversations of researchers discussing their human subjects. The casual manner in which they discussed human suffering and death triggered something primal in her enhanced consciousness. The serum had not eliminated her emotions, but had instead crystallized them into focused determination. Every human who had suffered in this facility would be avenged, and every involved would understand the consequences of their actions. Through a ventilation grate, observed the main research laboratory. Sophisticated medical equipment surrounded examination tables where, thankfully, no experiments were currently being conducted. Computer terminals displayed data streams in script that her enhanced linguistic processing could now partially decode. She was reading research notes about human pain tolerance, recovery rates, and speculation about the genetic basis for human resilience. What they had not understood was that they were seeing only the baseline human capabilities. None of their test subjects had been enhanced soldiers. None had access to the enhancement serums that represented the cutting edge of human biotechnology, and none had been trained to push human potential beyond what evolution had naturally provided. They were about to discover what enhanced humans were truly capable of. Positioned herself above the main laboratory, calculating angles and timing for her descent. Through her enhanced planning abilities, she could see the entire sequence of events that would unfold once she entered the room. She would have approximately 40 seconds before reinforcements arrived, enough time to access the computer systems and begin the process that would free the other prisoners and send an unmistakable message about the consequences of experimenting on humans. But as she prepared to drop into the laboratory, enhanced hearing detected something that changed everything. Footsteps approaching the laboratory and voices discussing the scheduled termination of human test subjects who were no longer providing useful data. The timeline had just accelerated dramatically. There would be no careful infiltration, no subtle sabotage. Was about to show the exactly what happened when they threatened human lives in the presence of someone who had sworn an oath to protect them. The enhancement serum coursing through her veins had transformed her from a captured medic into something the galaxy had not seen before. A human warrior operating beyond the limits of normal possibility, with the knowledge to turn their own technology against them, and the determination to ensure that no human would ever suffer in this facility again. The laboratory below was about to become a battlefield, and held every advantage her enemies could not imagine. Dropped through the ventilation grate with the controlled violence of a falling meteor. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to land silently in a crouch between 2 research stations, while the 3 scientists remained focused on their data screens, completely unaware that their carefully controlled environment had just been invaded by something beyond their comprehension. The lead researcher, distinguished by the ceremonial scarring that marked his status in society, was reviewing execution schedules for the human test subjects. Through her enhanced hearing, could understand his clinical discussion of which humans had exceeded their experimental value and should be processed for final tissue analysis. The cold, bureaucratic language describing the murder of her fellow humans sent a surge of fury through her enhanced nervous system. Tactical consciousness processed the laboratory layout with superhuman speed. 17 pieces of medical equipment, 4 computer terminals, 3 emergency exits, and enough chemical compounds to create explosives or sedatives depending on her needs. Most importantly, she identified the central database terminal that would contain all research data, prisoner locations, and facility control systems. The first researcher died quickly and quietly. His enhanced speed carried her across the laboratory before he could even register her presence. Her medical training guided the strike to his neural cluster, a technique that would render him unconscious for hours without permanent damage. She caught his falling body and gently lowered it behind a research station, maintaining the laboratory's peaceful atmosphere while she continued her work. The second researcher fell victim to his own focused attention on the data screens. Approached from his blind spot, using a pressure point technique that specialized military medics learned for subduing hostile patients. The slumped forward onto his control station, appearing to casual observation as though he had simply fallen asleep at his post. The lead researcher only became aware of his presence when she placed her hand on his shoulder with enough enhanced strength to paralyze his movement, but not enough to injure him. When he turned to look at her, his reptilian features showed an expression that enhanced emotional reading abilities interpreted as terror mixed with scientific fascination. "You are the human medical specimen from containment level 7, the researcher said in heavily accented standard Galactic. His voice carried the hissing undertones typical of his species, but could detect the fear beneath his attempt at clinical detachment. "I am Lieutenant Colonel, Human Medical Corps," replied, her voice carrying an authority that made the researcher instinctively step backward. "And you are going to help me free every human in this facility, or you are going to discover why your people should have left us alone." His enhanced cognitive abilities allowed her to process this micro-expressions, body language, and speech patterns simultaneously. She could see his mind calculating escape routes, potential weapons, and ways to trigger security alerts. Her enhanced speed made all of these considerations irrelevant, but she allowed him to believe he still had options. "Your species interests us scientifically," the researcher said, attempting to regain his authority. "Your resilience parameters exceed standard biological models. We merely seek to understand." His enhanced reflexes moved her hand to his throat faster than his nervous system could process. She applied exactly enough pressure to restrict his breathing without causing permanent damage, her medical training ensuring precision even under combat conditions. "You seek to torture and murder my people," said, her enhanced vocal control making every word carry the weight of absolute certainty. "The research logs I accessed show 3 human deaths from your experiments. That makes you and your associates war criminals under both human and galactic council law." The researcher's eyes widened as he realized she had somehow accessed their secured data systems. The implications of this penetrated even his terror. Humans were more technologically sophisticated than their intelligence had suggested, more dangerous than their behavioral models had predicted. Positioned the researcher at the main terminal and used her enhanced strength to guide his hands to the access panels. "You are going to unlock every human containment unit in this facility. You are going to transfer all research data on human subjects to a portable storage device. And you are going to do this quickly, because my patience is limited, and my current biochemical state makes me significantly more dangerous than your models suggest." As the researcher worked under her guidance, his enhanced hearing tracked activity throughout the facility. Security teams were beginning to notice the absence of regular check-ins from the guards she had incapacitated. Within 10 minutes, they would initiate a facility-wide search. She needed to move faster. The terminal displayed the locations and conditions of the remaining human prisoners. Its enhanced analysis revealed that 9 humans were still alive, held in various states of medical suspension throughout the facility. 2 were in critical condition from recent procedures, 3 were sedated in preparation for scheduled experiments, and 4 were conscious, but restrained in cells similar to the one she had escaped from. "Your enhancement," the researcher said as he worked, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. "The biochemical signatures we detected were incomplete. You have artificially augmented your capabilities beyond baseline human parameters." Allowed herself a cold smile. "We have many capabilities you never detected. Your mistake was assuming that what you captured represented the limits of human potential. You're about to discover why advanced civilizations approach human space with caution. The data transfer completed, providing with complete files on every human subject, all research conducted, and detailed facility schematics. More importantly, it included communication protocols and security overrides that would allow her to coordinate the rescue operation with devastating efficiency. Secured the research data and approached the facility's security control station. Her enhanced understanding of alien technology allowed her to navigate the systems with frightening speed, disabling automated defenses in the human containment areas while leaving the rest of the facility's security active. This would create confusion and force the security teams to investigate multiple locations simultaneously. "The humans in medical suspension," said to the researcher. "What is their current condition? Can they be safely awakened?" The researcher's training overcame his fear as he provided medical details. 2 humans had been subjected to neural mapping procedures and would require careful recovery protocols. The others could be awakened immediately, but would need medical support during their initial recovery period. Enhanced Tactical Consciousness was already formulating a plan that would use the facility's own medical equipment against their captors. The research laboratory contained everything needed to treat the recovering humans while providing the tools necessary to ensure they understood the consequences of their actions. "There is something you should know," the researcher said, his voice carrying a tone that made enhanced threat assessment systems activate. "Your species was not randomly selected for study. There have been reports throughout the galaxy of humans displaying impossible behaviors under extreme stress, surviving planetary disasters that should be fatal, escaping from secure facilities, displaying strength and endurance that exceed known biological limits." Felt her enhanced analytical abilities processing this information. The implications were staggering. Humans had been gaining a reputation throughout galactic civilization, and that reputation had made them targets for scientific study. They were not the only species interested in understanding human capabilities. "How many other facilities like this exist?" asked, her enhanced interrogation training guiding the question. "I do not know," the researcher admitted. "Our research is compartmentalized, but the data suggests that multiple civilizations are studying human subjects independently. Your species has become a subject of great interest to throughout the galaxy." Absorbed this information while maintaining focus on her immediate mission. The scope of the problem was larger than she had imagined, but that made her current actions even more important. The message sent by this facility's destruction would resonate throughout the galaxy, warning other species about the consequences of treating humans as experimental subjects. Her enhanced hearing detected the approach of security teams from multiple directions. They were moving cautiously, unsure what they were facing, but recognizing that their facility had been compromised by something beyond their normal security protocols. Estimated, she had approximately 5 minutes before they reached the laboratory. 5 minutes to free 9 human prisoners, secure their safe evacuation, and ensure that the research program ended permanently. For a normal human, this would be impossible. For enhanced with Combat Enhancement Serum Mark VII and armed with captured alien technology, it was simply the next phase of an operation that would demonstrate exactly why humans had earned their fearsome reputation among the stars. The rescue was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to witness what happened when humans protected their own. Enhanced cognitive processing split her attention between multiple simultaneous tasks as she initiated the rescue operation. Using the facility's communication system, she began broadcasting wake-up protocols to the human containment units while downloading complete facility schematics to her captured data device. Her enhanced dexterity allowed her to operate multiple control interfaces simultaneously, something their designers had never imagined a single operator attempting. The first human containment unit responded to the unlock sequence. Its enhanced hearing picked up the sound of atmospheric seals releasing 3 levels above her position, followed by the confused voices of awakening prisoners. Through the facility's internal monitoring system, she could see 2 humans, a middle-aged woman and a younger man, struggling to orient themselves after weeks of medical suspension. "Attention all human subjects," broadcast through the facility's communication system, her enhanced vocal control allowing her to project both authority and reassurance. This is Lieutenant Colonel Human Medical Corps. I am conducting a rescue operation. Follow the lighted pathways that are now activating on your cell walls. Medical assistance is available. The researcher she held captive watched in fascination as orchestrated the complex rescue operation. Impossible, he whispered. No single organism could process this many variables simultaneously. Your neural enhancement exceeds our theoretical models. Its enhanced pattern recognition had identified the optimal evacuation routes for each group of prisoners based on their medical condition and proximity to security teams. The facility's own emergency evacuation system became her tool, with lighted pathways guiding confused humans toward predetermined rally points while misdirecting security forces away from the rescue routes. Through the monitoring systems, watched the first two awakened humans begin moving through the corridors. Their movements were unsteady but determined, and she could see them supporting each other as they followed the lighted path she had programmed. Their destination was a medical bay 2 levels below the main laboratory, where had identified supplies needed to treat the more severely injured prisoners. The security teams were closing in on the laboratory, but its enhanced tactical awareness had anticipated their approach routes. She activated the facility's automated research protocols, causing laboratory equipment throughout the complex to begin emergency sterilization procedures. The resulting alarms and atmospheric warnings created confusion that scattered the security teams and bought her additional time. The humans in critical condition, said to the researcher. What specific treatments will they need during recovery? His scientific training overcame his terror as he provided detailed medical information. 2 humans had been subjected to experimental neural interface procedures that required careful monitoring during consciousness restoration. Without proper treatment, they could suffer permanent cognitive damage. His medical expertise, enhanced to superhuman levels, processed this information and formulated treatment protocols using available medical equipment. Her enhanced understanding of alien biotechnology allowed her to adapt their neural monitoring systems for human physiology, creating hybrid treatment protocols that would ensure the injured prisoner's safe recovery. She guided the researcher through the process of preparing portable medical units while maintaining surveillance of the rescue operation through the facility's monitoring system. 4 more humans had awakened and were successfully navigating the evacuation routes. Their movements showed the characteristic resilience that had made humans a subject of galactic interest. Despite weeks of captivity and medical experimentation, they were moving with determination and maintaining group cohesion. The most critically injured humans were housed in the facility's medical wing, 3 levels below's current position. Accessing them would require her to move through areas heavily patrolled by security teams while carrying medical equipment necessary for their treatment. Her enhanced tactical consciousness calculated multiple approach routes, but all involved significant risk. There is another consideration, the researcher said, his voice carrying reluctant admiration. The facility's emergency protocols include atmospheric purging systems designed to eliminate biological contamination. If security determines the facility is compromised beyond recovery, they will initiate total sterilization. Its enhanced threat assessment processed this information with chilling clarity. They would murder every human in the facility rather than risk their escape. This transformed the rescue operation from a careful extraction into a race against time with genocidal stakes. How long before they activate the purging system? Asked, her enhanced interrogation training detecting deception patterns in the researcher's response. Protocol requires confirmation from 3 senior staff members, he admitted. But if they cannot regain control within 15 minutes of initial security breach, the system will activate automatically. Its enhanced temporal perception calculated that 8 minutes had elapsed since her escape. 7 minutes remained before they would attempt to murder every human in the facility to cover their crimes. Her enhanced tactical consciousness immediately adapted the rescue plan, shifting from careful extraction to overwhelming assault. Using the facility's communication system, contacted all awakened human prisoners simultaneously. Her enhanced emotional control projected calm authority while delivering critical instructions. All personnel, this is Colonel. Emergency protocols are now in effect. You have 6 minutes to reach designated evacuation points before hostile action. Move quickly but maintain group cohesion. Medical support is en route. Secured the portable medical equipment, and prepared to leave the laboratory. The researcher watched her enhanced preparation with scientific fascination that overcame his fear. "Your species will not remain secret much longer," he said. "Too many civilizations have encountered human capabilities that exceed standard biological parameters. Eventually, the galaxy will demand explanations." Its enhanced analytical abilities processed the long-term implications of this statement. Humanity's secret advantages were becoming known throughout galactic civilization, which meant Earth would soon face challenges from species that viewed enhanced humans as either threats to be eliminated or resources to be exploited. "When that time comes," replied, securing the captured data device containing evidence of war crimes, "humanity will be ready. We've been preparing for challenges you cannot imagine." Its enhanced strength allowed her to carry medical equipment that would normally require multiple operators while maintaining combat readiness. Her enhanced spatial awareness guided her through the facility's corridors using routes that avoided security teams while providing the fastest access to the critically injured prisoners. The first security team she encountered learned why reports of impossible human behaviors had begun circulating throughout the galaxy. Its enhanced speed carried her through their formation before they could coordinate a response, while her enhanced combat training disabled them with medical precision that left them unconscious but uninjured. She appropriated their weapons and communication devices, adding to her tactical capabilities. Through the captured communications, monitored the security team's growing panic as they realized their facility had been penetrated by something beyond their training or equipment. Their tactical communications revealed that they were dealing with a single intruder who was systematically dismantling their security while conducting a complex rescue operation, capabilities that their threat assessment protocols had no framework for addressing. Reached the medical wing as the facility's emergency systems began announcing the approach of atmospheric purging protocols. Red warning lights bathed the corridors in crimson illumination, while automated voices counted down in multiple languages. 4 minutes remained before the sterilization system would activate. The medical wing contained the most sophisticated treatment equipment in the facility, including the neural interface systems that held 2 humans in critical suspension. Its enhanced medical expertise immediately assessed their condition through the monitoring displays. Stable, but requiring immediate intervention to prevent permanent neurological damage from the experimental procedures. Began the delicate process of disconnecting the humans from the medical systems while preparing them for transport. Her enhanced dexterity allowed her to operate multiple pieces of equipment simultaneously, performing procedures that would normally require a full medical team. The captured researcher's information guided her adaptation of alien medical protocols for human physiology. The first critically injured human, a woman in her 30s showing signs of military training, awakened during the disconnection process. Her eyes found immediately, and despite the disorientation of medical suspension, her expression showed recognition and relief. "Colonel," she said, her voice weak but determined, "Corporal Martinez, Human Survey Corps. How many others?" This enhanced emotional control allowed her to provide reassurance while maintaining focus on the medical procedures. "9 total survivors, Corporal. We're getting everyone out. Can you assist with your own transport?" Martinez nodded, her own military training overriding the effects of prolonged medical suspension. Helped her to a sitting position while continuing work on the second critically injured prisoner, a young man whose neural interface injuries required more complex treatment. Through the facility's communication system, could hear the growing desperation of security forces as they realized the scope of the human escape. Multiple containment breaches, disabled security systems, and the presence of an intruder who operated beyond their tactical frameworks had created a crisis that their protocols could not address. 2 minutes remained before atmospheric purging would begin, completed the medical disconnection procedures, and helped both critical patients prepare for transport. Her enhanced strength would allow her to carry the injured man, while Corporal Martinez could move under her own power with assistance. The evacuation route to the facility's main transport bay required traversing 3 levels while avoiding security teams and reaching the other escaped humans. Its enhanced tactical consciousness calculated the optimal path, while her enhanced time perception tracked the countdown to atmospheric sterilization. As prepared to leave the medical wing with the rescued prisoners, Her enhanced hearing detected something that changed the entire tactical situation. The approach of additional aircraft outside the facility and radio communications in human, standard military frequencies. The rescue operation was about to become something much larger, as realized that her escape had triggered protocols that would bring the full weight of human military response to Prime. The galaxy was about to witness what happened when humanity discovered that their people were being used as experimental subjects by alien civilizations. Its enhanced hearing identified the approaching aircraft as human military vessels, specifically the distinctive engine signatures of special operations designed for rapid insertion and extraction operations. Through the facility's external monitoring systems, she could see 3 ships approaching in formation, their stealth capabilities overwhelmed by the urgency of their mission. The atmospheric purging countdown reached 60 seconds as helped Corporal Martinez support the injured Survey Corps member. Her enhanced tactical consciousness immediately recognized that the timing was not coincidental. Human military intelligence had been tracking the research facility and had moved to intervene when escape triggered their surveillance systems. All human personnel, broadcast through the facility's communication system, military extraction is imminent. Converge on the main transport bay immediately. Emergency medical support is available. Through the captured communications, monitored the panic spreading through the facility's command structure. Security teams reported that the human prisoners had not only escaped, but were moving through the facility with tactical coordination that exceeded their containment protocols. The presence of approaching human military vessels had escalated the situation beyond their emergency procedures. Its enhanced cognitive processing revealed the true scope of what was occurring. The research facility represented one node in a galaxy-wide intelligence network studying human capabilities. Her escape and the subsequent military response would send shockwaves throughout alien civilizations that had been secretly investigating humanity's enhanced potential. The facility's main transport bay erupted into chaos as arrived with the critically injured prisoners. 7 other humans had successfully reached the rally point, their movements showing the resilience and adaptability that had made their species a subject of galactic interest. Despite weeks of captivity and experimentation, they had organized into an effective group and were providing mutual support. Its enhanced medical assessment revealed that while all the rescued humans showed signs of their ordeal, none had suffered permanent damage that would prevent their recovery. The experiments had been designed to study human capabilities without completely destroying their test subjects, a decision that would prove to be their crucial mistake. The atmospheric purging system activated with 30 seconds remaining, but its enhanced understanding of alien technology had prepared for this contingency. During her infiltration of the facility's computer systems, she had identified the atmospheric composition controls and modified them to create a breathable environment for humans while making the air toxic to physiology. Instead of murdering their prisoners, they had poisoned their own facility. Human breached the transport bay's atmospheric barriers with precision that demonstrated advanced military capabilities. Its enhanced pattern recognition identified the lead vessel as belonging to the Human Special Forces Medical Recovery Unit, an elite organization tasked with retrieving personnel from hostile alien environments. The first soldier through the breach carried equipment that's enhanced analysis immediately recognized as combat enhancement serum delivery systems. The rescue operation was not being conducted by ordinary human military forces, but by enhanced soldiers operating with capabilities similar to her own. Humanity had deployed its most advanced warriors to recover their captured people. Colonel, the lead soldier said, his voice carrying the distinctive calm authority of enhanced combat consciousness. Major Special Recovery Unit, we're here to extract you and all human personnel. Medical support is standing by. Its enhanced emotional control allowed her to process the relief of rescue while maintaining focus on her medical responsibilities. 9 survivors requiring immediate medical evaluation. 2 with neural interface trauma from alien experimentation. All mobile but several need support during transport. Major's enhanced tactical assessment processed this information while coordinating with his team. Could see the telltale signs of enhancement in their movements, the slightly too fast reflexes, the perfect coordination, the way they processed multiple information streams simultaneously. Humanity had deployed enhanced soldiers to ensure the rescue succeeded against any opposition. Through the facility's monitoring systems, watched security teams succumbed to their own atmospheric purging system, while human forces systematically secured the facility. The reversal of roles was complete. The captors had become trapped, while their former prisoners coordinated a takeover of the entire research complex. "Colonel," Major said, "we need you to identify any intelligence materials that should be secured. This facility represents a significant intelligence gathering opportunity regarding alien research into human capabilities." Provided the data device containing complete research files on human subjects, while briefing the enhanced soldiers on the facility's layout and remaining threats. Her enhanced analytical abilities had every piece of evidence needed to prove war crimes and document their research into human enhancement. As the enhanced human forces completed their facility takeover, enhanced cognitive processing considered the larger implications of these events. The galaxy had been studying human capabilities in secret, but humanity had been studying the galaxy as well. The presence of enhanced soldiers conducting this rescue operation demonstrated that Earth's military development had progressed far beyond what alien civilizations realized. The rescued humans were rapidly processed through medical evaluation and prepared for transport. Its enhanced assessment confirmed that all would make full recoveries, though the psychological impact of their ordeal would require careful treatment. More importantly, their testimonies would provide evidence of systematic alien experiments on human subjects. "There's something else you need to know," told Major as they prepared to evacuate the facility. "According to the research data, multiple alien civilizations are studying human subjects independently. This facility is part of a larger intelligence network investigating human-enhanced capabilities." Major's enhanced tactical consciousness processed this information with the same superhuman speed had demonstrated. "That intelligence will be processed at the highest levels," he said, "but it confirms what our intelligence services have suspected. Humanity's reputation in the galaxy has attracted the wrong kind of attention." Watched the enhanced soldiers complete their evidence gathering while ensuring no trace of their advanced capabilities would be left for alien analysis. The combat enhancement serums that had made the rescue possible would remain humanity's secret, while the evidence of alien crimes would become a diplomatic weapon of devastating effectiveness. The final phase of the operation involved message delivery that would resonate throughout galactic civilization. Its enhanced understanding of alien psychology guided the crafting of communications that would be discovered by the next ships to investigate the facility. The message was simple but profound. Humanity protected its own, and the consequences of harming humans would always exceed the benefits of studying them. As the human departed Prime with all rescued personnel and captured intelligence, reflected on the broader implications of her experience. The galaxy had been studying humanity in secret, attempting to understand capabilities that exceeded their biological models. They had discovered that humans could survive impossible conditions, display strength beyond theoretical limits, and adapt to challenges that should be fatal. What they had not realized was that these capabilities represented only humanity's baseline potential. The enhanced soldiers conducting the rescue operation, the combat serums that had made escape possible, and the military technologies that had overwhelmed alien defenses demonstrated that humanity had been preparing for galactic challenges with typical human thoroughness. The rescued humans underwent medical treatment aboard the human vessels, while intelligence analysts processed the captured data. Its enhanced cognitive abilities allowed her to participate in both activities simultaneously, providing medical care while debriefing intelligence officers about capabilities and objectives. The research suggests that multiple species view humans as either threats to be eliminated or resources to be exploited, reported to the intelligence team. "Our enhanced capabilities have gained attention throughout the galaxy, but they don't understand the source or extent of our advantages." The intelligence analysis revealed that humanity's reputation had spread far beyond what Earth's governments realized. Reports of impossible human behaviors had reached civilizations across the galaxy, creating both fear and scientific curiosity that had motivated the secret research programs. As the human fleet departed space, considered her role in the events that would follow. Her escape from the wolf's cell had triggered a chain reaction that would reshape humanity's relationship with galactic civilization. The evidence of alien experimentation on humans would provide justification for whatever diplomatic or military responses Earth's leaders deemed appropriate. Had entered the wolf's cell as a captured medic facing an unknown fate. She was leaving as the catalyst for humanity's emergence as a galactic power that would no longer tolerate being studied, threatened, or underestimated. The galaxy had learned what it meant to cage a human, and the lesson would not be forgotten. The enhanced soldiers who had rescued her represented the next phase of human development, warriors who combined the natural advantages that had made humanity legendary with scientific enhancements that pushed those capabilities beyond alien comprehension. The message sent by their successful operation would resonate throughout galactic civilization. Humanity was not subject material for alien research, but a force that would shape the galaxy's future on its own terms. Transformation from prisoner to liberator symbolized humanity's broader emergence from galactic obscurity to active participation in shaping interstellar civilization. The wolf's cell had been designed to contain dangerous predators, but it had instead forged something far more dangerous. A human who understood that the galaxy's greatest threats often came from those who underestimated human determination, adaptability, and the lengths to which humans would go to protect their own. The rescue operation was complete, but knew that her real work was just beginning. Humanity would need enhanced warriors, advanced technologies, and strategic thinking that matched the challenges of a galaxy where their capabilities had made them targets. The woman who had once developed enhancement serums in secret laboratories would now help prepare humanity for open conflict with civilizations that viewed them as experimental subjects rather than equals. The galaxy had studied humans and found them fascinating. Now humanity would study the galaxy and find it wanting.